Hello and good morning from the Freedom of Information and Privacy Association. I'm Patrick Farnsworth, and this is your Access and Privacy Online News Summary for Saturday, February 21st. This week, the Senate delivers a significant report on Bill C-4 Part 4, with the majority of committee members warning that the proposed political party privacy regime falls far short of minimum standards, recommending that it be removed, severed, or sunset. We're also tracking how access to information requests continue to expose accountability gaps, from more than 1,500 Canadians serving in the Israeli military to unanswered questions about how many patients are overdosing inside BC hospitals. At the local level, we look at environmental enforcement concerns in Kahnawà farmland preservation battles in Ontario, and record deficits in New Brunswick. And internationally, voter data seizures, police database abuse, AI identity disputes, and even iPhone security features are raising urgent questions about how personal information is protected or misused. Let's dive in. A major development this week in Ottawa. The Standing Senate Committee on Legal and Constitutional Affairs has tabled its fourth report on Part 4 of Bill C-4. Part 4 would replace the current regime governing federal political parties under the Canada Elections Act, and attempt to retroactively exclude them from provincial privacy laws. After just 6 hours of hearings, senators heard from the Chief Electoral Officer, the Commissioner of Canada Elections, the Federal Privacy Commissioner, BC's Information and Privacy Commissioner, the Privy Council Office, Political Party Council, and civil society, including FIPA. The majority conclusion is blunt. While a national regime is appropriate, Part 4 falls far short of minimum privacy standards. Witnesses testified that it lacks clear minimum standards aligned with PIPEDA principles, independent oversight, meaningful enforcement tools, breach notification requirements, prohibitions on selling or misleading use of personal data, protections against foreign interference. The committee outlines three options. 1. Remove Part 4 entirely. 2. Sever it for separate study. 3. Insert a sunset clause to force reform within 2 years. FIPA appeared before the committee and submitted written materials emphasizing that weakening domestic safeguards lowers the barrier to foreign exploitation and data-driven electoral manipulation. At the time of recording, the bill remains before the Senate. If you want a full breakdown of the testimony and what comes next, listen to our Bill C-4 Special Edition, available now. The file is moving quickly, and it's not over yet. Next, for stories informed by access requests. Israeli military data shows that more than 1,500 Canadians were serving in the Israeli Defense Forces as of March 2025. That includes dual citizens and some individuals with 3 nationalities. The Parliamentary Library Service for the Israeli Parliament also issued a report last year that said 56 Canadians without Israeli citizenship, individuals known as lone soldiers, were serving in the country's military as of August 2024. Neither document indicates how many Canadians have served in Israel's military onslaught within Gaza. The numbers surface as the RCMP continues what it calls a structural investigation into possible war crimes related to the so-called Israel-Hamas conflict, though an online public reporting portal promised last year has not launched, and Jewish groups are looking for clarity on the RCMP's plan to launch them. The NDP has urged the Liberals to make it clear to any Canadian serving in the Israeli military that they may be subject to prosecution for any war crimes. LGI reporter Michelle Gamage at the Tyee reports that after 7 FOI requests and 2 complaints to the Information and Privacy Commissioner, journalists still cannot access comprehensive data on how many patients are overdosing inside BC hospitals. Some health authorities released partial data, others refused. One cited the mosaic effect, arguing aggregated numbers could indirectly identify individuals. The Office of the Information and Privacy Commissioner agreed with Interior Health regarding one complaint made by the Tyee and added that one health authority releasing amalgamated data does not obligate others to do so. A second complaint against Vancouver Coastal Health was accidentally closed by the OIPC at the same time as another complaint after the decision in favor of Interior Health. Meanwhile, more than 18,700 British Columbians have died from toxic drugs since 2014. Doctors say aggregated overdose data is essential for understanding whether hospital-based overdose prevention sites are needed. The larger issue is one of public interest and government secrecy maintained by permanent emergencies. A public health crisis is classified as an emergency to trigger exceptional temporary powers given exceptional circumstances. When the crisis persists for a decade, is it still reasonable to qualify as an emergency, given it may no longer be an exceptional circumstance? LGI reporter Marcus Bancuti at the Eastern Door reports on growing concern in the Kahnawà territory regarding the TerraPure battery recycling plant near the St. Lawrence Seaway. Charges under the Federal Fisheries Act and inspection reports obtained through access to information requests raise concerns about toxic discharges and worker exposure to lead. A representative of Montérégie's Public Health Department said the department has been monitoring emissions from the plant for years and said that based on available data and monitoring, much of it provided by Quebec's Environment Ministry, emissions for several contaminants comply with established standards. The Mohawk Council of Kahnawà is demanding greater involvement in industrial decisions affecting disputed lands. Commitments were made to ensure Kahnawà gets the information it needs to make its own assessments about the dangers posed by the plant, but the Mohawk Council of Kahnawà Grand Chief wants to see words put to action. This story highlights another recurring theme: siloed government communication, delayed disclosure, and communities seeking direct access to environmental risk information. LGI reporter Thomas Kent at the Woolwich Observer reports that a 135-page community report challenges the region of Waterloo's assembly of 770 acres of prime farmland for a proposed mega-industrial site. Residents allege years of non-disclosure agreements, heavily redacted FOI responses, and limited public consultation. At stake, less than 1% of Ontario's land is considered prime agricultural land. According to the document, only about 5% of Ontario's landmass is suitable for agriculture, with less than 1% considered prime farmland. The report argues that once paved over, such land is permanently lost. The report also raises serious questions about water availability, sewage capacity, and environmental risk, with no comprehensive studies having been publicly released. The transparency question: can large-scale land assemblies proceed under confidentiality while reshaping regional planning for generations? Next, LGI reporter Natalie Sturgeon at CHCO's St. Croix Courier reports that New Brunswick's deficit has reached a record of $1.3 billion, with net debt projected at $13.9 billion, while expenses are expected to be over budget by $407.3 million. Documents obtained through a right to information request reveal fixed federal funding caps on infrastructure projects, leaving municipalities responsible for cost overruns. Several projects under the Canada-New Brunswick Integrated Bilateral Agreement have not advanced. Progressive Conservative MLA Don Monahan, the finance critic, said there are concerns that with another fiscal quarter to go, the deficit will only continue to grow. Budget pressures, healthcare spending, and delayed bilateral projects are converging, just weeks before the provincial budget is tabled. LGI reporter Stephen Sukow at the Winnipeg Sun reports that municipal transparency concerns are fueling grassroots political mobilization in East St. Paul and surrounding communities. Residents cite difficulty accessing planning documents and limited consultation windows for major land use decisions. An East St. Paul resident said the structure of the regional body gives larger partners, such as Winnipeg, greater influence over surrounding municipalities. According to the resident, the movement has also changed how people view municipal politics, even saying younger residents are showing interest in running for office or becoming more active in local affairs ahead of the next municipal election. The through line: access to information isn't abstract. It shapes local governance in real time. In a great local cybersecurity privacy report, LGI reporter Michael Bennett at the Ridgetown Independent News reports that Chatham Kent Crime Stoppers is urging residents to protect both physical property and digital information while traveling. The advisory includes guidance on avoiding public Wi Fi risks and monitoring financial accounts. A reminder that everyday privacy protection starts with awareness. Residents are also encouraged to make their properties appear occupied before they leave on their vacations and to pause mail and parcel deliveries or at least arrange for it to be collected. A new analysis in the conversation examines Toronto's Project South corruption charges. Allegations that officers leaked sensitive data from police databases highlight a long standing concern. Database abuse is difficult to detect and often reactive rather than preventative. The article argues that random audits and stronger documentation requirements could improve accountability. The documentation would require that officers give a detailed explanation of the reasons searches on people are being performed. This intersects directly with broader debates about systemic issues versus few bad apples explanations in policing oversight. Meanwhile, in Alberta, recall campaigns targeting several MLAs have failed or been withdrawn. One organizer cited confusion over whether petition signatories' names could become public, though Elections Alberta confirmed they would not. Due to conflicting messaging shared online and lack of clarification from Elections Alberta, which manages the petition process, one petition was pulled. Even the perception of privacy risks can suppress civic participation. Many of the petitioners targeting Smith's caucus have said they were motivated by the government's use of the Charter's notwithstanding clause to halt a province-wide teacher strike. Several U.S. developments this week reflect escalating tensions around data, enforcement, and political power. In Georgia, the NAACP is asking a federal judge to limit how the FBI may use voter data seized from Fulton County election warehouses. Civil rights groups argue that voter registration data contains sensitive personal information and should not be repurposed beyond the stated criminal investigation. They also claim that seizure of election documents infringed on constitutional protections of privacy and interfere with the right to vote. The groups also want the judge to order that the government disclose an inventory of all documents and records seized, the identity of anyone who has accessed the records outside of those involved in the criminal investigation, any copying of the records, and all efforts to secure the information. Meanwhile, in Minneapolis, federal indictments following clashes in which stolen documents containing FBI agents' personal information were posted online, leading to threats. The information was stolen after 2 FBI agents had abandoned their vehicles when they decided that protests made the area unsafe, leading to the vehicles being vandalized and broken into. The misuse of personal data cuts both ways. Internationally, an Albanian actor is suing her government after her face and voice were used to create what was billed as the world's first AI minister. She argued she never consented to that use, raising novel questions about biometric identity rights. The actress acknowledged she had signed a contract agreeing that her voice and image can be used for the government's online platform, eAlbania, which provides a wide range of public services in the country. But she said she never was told of any plans to use them for an AI minister. And in a separate U.S. case, Apple's lockdown mode prevented federal investigators from accessing a journalist's iPhone. Lockdown mode is designed for high-risk individuals facing sophisticated cyber threats, but it also underscores an enduring tension between device security and state access. The heavy-duty feature works by putting strict security limits on some apps and features, or even making some unavailable, to reduce the areas that advanced spyware can attack. Lockdown mode also uses a passcode, not biometrics or a facial scan, in order to activate or deactivate it. Finally, U.S. prosecutors have indicted a Florida man under the Rodchenkov Act for allegedly supplying banned substances to an Olympic athlete, demonstrating how data, whistleblowers, and international sports governance now intersect with criminal enforcement. The indictment alleges that the man conspired with others to influence international sports competitions by providing performance enhancing drugs to an athlete. As always, we hope today's stories helped you stay informed about the forces shaping privacy, transparency, and accountability. At time of recording, Bill C-4 remains before the Senate. Be sure to check the show notes for our full special edition coverage and supporting materials. To support this work, please subscribe through FIBA News Monitoring or consider making a donation. Our writer is Sean Fisk. Music is by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. I'm Patrick Farnsworth. Thank you for listening. Stay safe and stay informed.